Gonna get going. Okay. Hey. Oh,
Hey,
this is family. This is family here, y'all. This is family here. So happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I am so glad to be back with you. The comfort zone is coming to you from the snow ridden place of New Jersey. So today on my interview series, I have a very special guest, someone who I love dearly, and I want to introduce her to you. Her name is Eileen Marcial. She's the founder and CEO of Wills and More LLC. She's been a Legal Shield Independent Associate for over 20 years. She's passionate about providing everyday families and small business owners with a legal team to protect their rights. This includes estate planning documents, which she calls love letter will packages. She's on a mission to educate as many people as possible about how to leave a legacy instead of a mystery by simplifying and demystifying the process. Eileen prides herself on being a girl mom, two daughters, two granddaughters, one husband, and two male dogs. As a longtime member of First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens in Somerset, New Jersey, she lives by her motto, NBGG, nothing but God's grace. And that's how I met this powerhouse woman, Eileen Marcial, at First Baptist Church. We met on the entrepreneurship ministry years ago. She gave me the honor of allowing me to cater her 50th birthday party when I was starting my catering business. And she was my first client, as a matter of fact, to allow me to, yes, you were my first client to allow me to cater. And we've been friends ever since. But what I forgot to do, because I got so caught up in this guest, is tell you who I am. I'm Donna Williams, the owner and CEO of Donna's Touch LLC, where everything I touch comes from the heart. So I'm just going to talk to you, Eileen. How you doing? Thanks for
I'm
coming.
outstanding. Thanks for having me. I didn't realize I was your first client.
Yeah,
What?
you were
Let
my
me tell
first
you, this
client.
girl threw down. You would have thought it was Sunday dinner at her house. That's how it was so good. Attention to detail. Guests were happy. I was happy. I didn't have to worry about anything because my girl had my back. And yeah, here we are, another milestone coming up in a few months.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Four
Yes,
months and 4 days.
we'll
But
be
who's
Medicaid.
counting?
I'm already Medicaid age. She will be coming to that point. But honey, we don't look like it, okay? So don't
You
you
know
dare
that.
come up here and say anything to
Sassy
the
baby.
contrary. So, my darling, I one of the things I really appreciated about looking at the questions I wanted to talk to you about with this interview is that it can reach young women, and these are some of the questions that we're going to talk about, and you're going to answer, and we're going to really be able to engage other women, especially younger women who are just starting out or maybe not sure where they want to go or what direction they want to take, and perhaps your journey will help them decide if this is what they want to do, or at least give them some pointers on what they could do next. Right? So that
Okay.
sounds like a good idea.
I think I
So
could. I think I might be able to answer a question or two.
I think you can. So I just want to talk to you about being true to who you are. And when you think about your journey, who did you have to become on the inside before the success showed up on the outside?
That I love that question because growing up, I suffered from self-esteem issues. Okay, I'm not gonna go into all of that, but I had to find within myself that I am enough. I did the route that everyone's parents said: go to school, get a good job. I had some friends that went to school, they wanted to get the MRS degree, they wanted to get married. And I ended up with a bundle package. I got my degree and I got a husband out of the deal. And we're still together 45 years later, right? But the
Right.
thing is that you need to have that inner peace and know. I mean, my self esteem issues had to be rectified by understanding that God created me in his image. So if I don't like myself, I don't love God. And so once I read Ayanna Van Zant's The Value in the Valley, I got my Eileen back, right? And then you get your Eileen back, and then you get yourself back, right? And then you find yourself going through other stuff because life will life. But as long as you keep your faith strong, personal development helps too. Because if you understand who you are to your core, no one can shake you from that core. And then you need to know what your why is. And if you don't know what your why is, anything will do, right? And so I really didn't have a big why at first, but then my why continues to grow because what I want to do is see how many people we can empower, how many folks can, if they don't know their voice, help them find their voice. And so my journey's been a little convoluted, but I'm just grateful that I let God pattern my steps and my words. And a lot of good things have happened in these past 64 and Lord too many months, year, time frame. But I'm just grateful for the journey. So I forgot what the question was. Did I answer it?
No, you did, and I want to you led right into the next one because you were talking about helping people find their voice. And so the next question is, how did you learn to trust your own voice, especially when others may have doubted you?
Donna, that is a hard. That's something that comes with practice. It comes with seasoning, and it comes with having your own voice, your knowing who you are to your core and what you want to do. But it also helps to have friends like you, friends like Loris, friends like Monica, a mom like mine. Folks that said, no, 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 you got this. You got encourage you when you felt you didn't have, even when things didn't go well, to know that that's temporary. And that's the word that really comes to mind most. When things aren't right, it's temporary, right? And what are we going to do to make it better? And we can sit there and wallow, and I allow myself a whole whopping 15 minutes to just scream, throw things, just totally wuss out, maybe take a nap, cry, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, that was temporary. What are we going to do to resolve the matter? What's that
Come
one
on,
thing that we need to do to change it? And
gotta keep it
so,
moving. Yes, yes.
and the other thing too is that I learned a couple of things. The first one is 90% of my life is amazing. 10% sucks. But as long as the 10% stays away from the 90%, my life is amazing. So you have to look at the positives and keep those positives in the forefront. Every so often, the negative's gonna reach up and try to snatch at you, and you're just gonna get the behind me, okay? And so there are days that it's gonna be harder than easier. That's when you have your friends to lean on, your faith to lean on, music to lean on, workouts to lean on, right? The things that keep you strong and keep you healthy. Meditation helps too,
Absolutely.
and
Oh,
journaling.
that's oh yes, meditation and journaling. Two big
Absolutely.
things on my list, definitely. Yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh, that was a great answer to that question. Thank you. And I just I you know what, one of the things that you said about just really about leaning on yourself and understanding that 90% of your life is great and the 10% sucks. I just have to share with the audience that yeah, every time I call her and she goes, she's always upbeat, always. Hey, girl, how you doing? I said, I'm good. How you doing? I'm doing great. That's always Eileen's response. But there have been times when I've called her and she wasn't doing great and she didn't hide it. She didn't act like she was good and she wasn't good. Okay. And then if we had time, we would have a conversation. So, and if we didn't have time, and she said, "Well, I'll get back to you a little later," and I'll be like, "Okay, cool," and that would be all right. But she always shows up, which is my next question. What does showing up as your authentic? I walked right into that. What does showing up as your authentic self mean to you in everyday life?
In everyday life, I have accepted the fact that I am the best me I can be, that God patterns my steps and my words and my thoughts. And as long as that's the case, I am unshakable. And I'm unapologetically unbothered about that. I live by four C's in addition to my NBGG. Did I cause the problem? Can I control the problem? Can I cure the problem? If I can't do those three things, I'm not getting caught up in it. So I've gotten to the point where my time and my peace are valued highly, right? So walking in, what you see is what you get. Yeah, it is okay to not be okay, but I'll tell you what, no matter what's going on in my life, I'm not going to look like what I'm going through. So you just have to find that peace. And what if that means that sometimes you just got to pull back from everybody. Sometimes you just got to just block some people because if
Yeah.
their energy steals your joy, I've got folks in my that I knocked out of my phone, never to return again. Because if I see their name pop up in my phone, it's going to wreak havoc with my peace. And if you don't bring value to my peace or make me smile when I think about you, I don't need you in my phone. The IRS ain't in my phone. The devil ain't in my phone. So why I gotta have somebody in my phone that's gonna wreak havoc with my peace?
I understand, but you system now. I want you to dig a little bit deeper because we're going to be talking to a younger audience. You and I are
Okay.
seasoned veterans.
Yeah, we're real
We've got,
seasoned.
we've got,
Over seasoned.
girl. No, I don't know about all of that, but I ain't gonna
Okay,
go
no,
there.
no, I'm cool. I like
We
my
in
jerk
marinade
seasoning.
mode. We in marinade mode. I ain't going for the overseas. But anyway, so to the younger women that may be listening to this, how can young women recognize when they're shrinking themselves to make others comfortable?
First of all, been there, done that. But as a young, I'm a girl mom, right? I have two daughters. One is 36, the other one's 31. These are two of the strongest young women I know. I told my oldest daughter when I grow up, I want to be like her. Right? It's just a matter of do you have a mentor? Is your mom your mentor? Do you have a friend you look up to? Have a, have somebody, a goal that when you want to be like them when you grow up, right? But find what defines you. What do you like? And I find, and it's so sad that the younger generation is beset upon by all this. Forgive me for saying this. I know everyone's a social media maven, but me. But there's too much influence on our young women's minds, diminishing them. Oh, you don't look like this. You don't walk like this. You're not on TikTok. No, there's one of you. What makes you special? And what makes you
Mm-hmm.
special is the thing that makes you authentic. When you're authentic, you're walking in your truth, not anybody else's. I
Mm-hmm.
watched, we live in Franklin Township. And in Franklin Township, there seemed to have been, I mean, just like when I was growing up, there was an affinity towards folks that weren't of the same complexion as I am. They preferred the brown paper bag test for the young folks. That means if you were darker than a brown paper bag, they weren't checking for you, right? So my girls went through that phase, and I'm like, don't you worry, because the right person will be there at the right time. You don't try to fit into anyone else's box. Always be you. And by doing that, my daughter found the person of her dreams, perfect match. So it's not what the slide right, slide left does. I have no idea about that. It's a matter of being non-negotiable, unapologetically you. I gave in to one thing that I had as a goal, as in not negotiable. I always vowed I was going to marry the person that was tall as my daddy or taller. The God has a sense of humor. My husband's 5'9", my dad was 6'3". So sometimes you have to see where are your boundaries. Where are your boundaries? What makes you happy? And in terms of careers, hearing so much about young women and young men that are just like, I just don't know what to do. I got this degree, I'm paying for all these student loans, and I'm not making any money. I've built my business on the premise of preaching to the niche. What are you good at? And if there's something you do that other people don't do, you've got your niche. What makes you happy? So just get that journal out. Like, what makes me happy? What am I grateful for? And when you do that, then some of the answers will come as to who you really are. So you could always walk in your authentic self. There is a
Right.
poet, was it Maya Angelou? Phenomenal woman, right? So
Yes.
we are phenomenal women. Don't they? I mean,
Yes.
the world is trying to play us small,
Yes.
but they can't diminish who we are.
Right.
And the longer I didn't always believe this when I was younger. I still needed a heavy dose of people. You could do it. You could, atta girl, atta girl. But
That
now
reason,
I need
yeah.
no permission. I'd rather
Yeah.
ask forgiveness than permission every day.
Awesome, awesome. So, and I think you answered that a little bit about the self doubt because you started off talking about that you had low self esteem, but and I don't know, I don't remember exactly if you talked about how you pushed through it. See, because some of these things that we encounter, I know that was big for me. Low self esteem, lack of confidence, which my friends now say they can't believe in their life that that ever was me. But
Yeah,
there are things that people don't always see about me that I didn't show them. There were a lot of things that they didn't see. And as I'm sure that you can relate to exactly what I'm talking about. And so when you struggled with that, and it's going to be a two-part question. I wanted you to explain how you pushed through the self-doubt and what habits did you create? And I think you did this too, but you touched on it a little bit. What habits did you create to build the confidence that lasts? Struggle through self doubt, and what
okay.
happens to create confidence?
Well, it depends on which phase of my life we're talking about with the self-doubt, right?
Younger.
Self-doubt when I was younger was because I was a heavy kid and I actually was teased, and I still hear the words every so often in my mind, right? So I remembered my mom and dad always, no, don't listen to that. You know who you are, you know what your strengths are, and you know we've got your back, as does God. So, it's just a matter of just believing what they said. So then there was another phase when things like were just really grisly in my life, right? And then I just happened to walk through Costco in Edison, New Jersey, and here was this book with a really pretty cover. I had no idea what the value in the valley was. Had no idea who Ayanna Van Zant was. But I just grabbed the book, threw it in my cart because it just looked pretty. So fast forward a couple of months, I had to take a ride to the Bronx to testify at one of my on one of my cases in claims. And I just grabbed the book and I read the book and I cried because I lost myself in all of the self-doubt, all of the things that were going on in my life. So I always have to go back to that. And and every so often things ain't good still, but you find something that centers you. And at its worst point, I've always loved purple. And I said, you know what? I'm going to incorporate purple into everything I can. So I went into Fortune House. I don't know if y'all old enough to remember that, but I walked in there and I spent a hell of a lot of money on some purple sheets. To this day, I will always have purple sheets on my bed. Right? I write with purple ink until I got in trouble for writing with purple ink, sending in applications for something. So I went to black for those people. But for the most part, there's always a purple pen somewhere. My eyeglass frames are purple. My hair is purple. My lashes are purple. My
Your
car
car.
was purple. Now it's going to be purple this week. Well, yeah, I'm at the point right now, I'm going to do what makes me happy, right? And the thing is that when you are doing what you love, it doesn't seem like you're working, even though, from the hours I keep, yeah, I'm working. But you always have to make sure to take time for yourself. And the other times when things were rough, I just wasn't taking care of myself. So my friends and family did a intervention on me. So I had 6 months off from work. And I slept the first 3 weeks. Slept. I got up to eat and I went back to sleep. Once I had gotten my rest and my strength, then I focused on the things I needed to do. See, we don't have to do everything. Just a word to the wise, whether you're 18, 28, 38, 58, 108. You don't have to do it all, right? Every so often, I have to scrape that S off my chest because I think I could do everything. Now, I know I can, but sometimes I just have to shut it down, right? And I mean,
Absolutely.
during the pandemic, I was running at a record pace in my house. I was doing anywhere from 5 to 10 Zooms every day, full-time caregiver for my beloved mother-in-law who had end-stage dementia and did not sleep. I was getting maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep every night and running that whole way for years. But you have to really truly make sure that you check in and take care of yourself. You
Right.
need to
Self care
rest.
is
You
important.
need
Self
to
care is
eat right.
important.
You need to take time to do something, maybe a walk, get some kind of endorphins going for yourself. So, other times when I felt less than it always had something to do with my weight, right? So when weight creeps up or something's going on, I'm not happy with myself. So I get frustrated. But the thing is that sometimes your body's just going to do something different. It's going left on you. But it's how do you appreciate yourself?
Right. Right.
As
And
long as
so,
you've done your best, forget the rest. Your
yes.
blood pressure good. Nobody needs to know what size that dress is.
Right.
It may look like a 2, but it's a 14, doggone it, because I rock it like that.
Right. And
Okay?
I mean, and you touched upon that when, basically, because when, as women, as young women, older women, like you said, from 8 to 18, 28, 48, whatever the age is that we all go through that process where we feel that we're not enough. We have all gone through it, and some of us are still going through it, and some of us, depending on the situations that we are in and the
Mhm.
lifestyles that we are living, we have made the decision that we are not enough. And what I heard you saying, and I'm hoping other people picked up on it, is that she's saying you are enough. You are enough. And but do not run yourself into the ground. The chapter I wrote for that book that I collaborated, the anthology, was I am not your superwoman. I had to take the S off my chest. So I understand exactly what that superwoman syndrome is. Some of you young ladies may not understand what that is, but we're trying to help you not understand what it is. We don't want you to go there. So in that respect, in that game, what when did you realize that your life had a bigger purpose?
Well, when God entrusted me to two little girls that are now women, I knew that I had to be my best. My mom was a teacher, an educator. So that's always been strong, right? And so when you're entrusted to other lives, then yes. My birthday's in June. As a June person, also known at end of June, we're called cancers, and we are caregivers through and through. So the greater purpose started 36 years ago, close to 37, I guess, if you do a whole 9-month cycle. I'm not gonna do the math. But in life, it's always been a matter of being being there for folks. But at the end of the day, we have to learn how to set boundaries,
Yes.
right? And one thing I've learned and still processing is that if you're somewhere that's not making you happy, not bringing you joy, making you feel less than, do not be afraid to plan your exit strategy. As women, we tend to stay too
Say that a
long.
little louder for the ones in the back. Say that a little louder for the ones in the back.
If you're somewhere that is not nourishing your soul, giving you peace, diminishing all that you are, or making you feel less than, assess the situation and figure out your exit strategy. Because we're not put here to suffer. We're here to flourish. And sometimes as women, we just stay too doggone long, hoping that
Woo.
somebody's going to change or you going to change. And we can't change anybody. We can help them change their clothes by buying them different sweaters or socks or underwear. But in terms of what goes in those items, we have no control over. So when we understand, what matter what age you are, working on that with my little 4-year-old granddaughter, where you are is this is what you're supposed to be doing here. It is not forever, right? You got to assess what is it you're supposed to learn from here. She has a little bit of a temper problem. She's learning how to work on that because what you just did was wrong. That was temporary. We still love you, but what are you going to do better next time? How are we going to be our best us? And if we're afraid to peel back the onion to see who we are, what role do we play? in the
Mm,
situation.
right.
We're not victims, but if we continue to act as if, then we will become victims. Victims have no power. We have we're omnipotent when we know who we are and what we're looking to do. So staying too long sometimes, not a good option. And as I said, have a mentor, but just don't fall into the cat. I understand that there's some young ladies and some young men that are actually in relationships with their AI, whatever the hell's. That's frightening.
Yeah, it is.
What should I wear on this date? And it answers. I'm
And
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh.
I saw
That's
that.
scary.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah. But
there's too much of that.
we have to be able. But see, people are going to have to be able to un- people are going to have to be able to understand discernment and be able to make a decision on their own how much they need to pay attention to that or how much they are going to rely on their own capabilities. And what's scary to me is what you just mentioned and how much of your own capability and your own thought will be taken away from you, which is the same thing they thought was going to happen with television. They really thought it was going to be the same thing.
Oh,
And we're
really? Oh, wow.
going to, yeah, I mean, when you go back into history, a lot of these things that we deal with now, like to turn the TV off, to turn the channel, I mean, at some point, like my daughter is big on getting rid of AI, like taking it out because of the environmental destruction that it is doing, and that's a whole nother
That's how
story.
jazz is too. Jasmine hates it. I've had a very strange relationship. First time I used it was to create a presentation. So one of my millennial colleagues told me, just tell chat what you want. So I did. I looked at the presentation 2 days before. All it was an outline. So I had to sit
Mm,
there and painstakingly complete. If I had just gone straight to the presentation with what chat created, I was going to be dead in the water. Right. And
mm,
so, I mean, I understand that I didn't use it right and it wasn't what it is today. So, last Friday, I needed to create a contract. Right. And I'm sitting there, I'm panicking. I'm just like, I just don't know what to do. It didn't work last time. And then my husband helped me with it. But my thing is that I see so many people use it, and I said, everybody knows you use chat for that email. Same bullet point, same font, same everything. You went to school. I'm sure you could write at least an email, right? It shouldn't be your be all end all. It really,
right,
really
right,
shouldn't. And, it's just a matter of, too, just knowing what you're good at. And if you're
right.
not good at something, either learn it or collaborate with somebody that is good with it.
Yeah,
One of my rules of thumb is collaboration is a new currency. You're good with that. I'll pay you to do that. You need this. I'll do this for you. That's what we
yeah,
do. It's this old school bartering.
right. Use it as a tool, not a crutch.
That is a tool, not a exactly.
As a
Exactly.
tool,
My
not
mom is rolling over in her grave. Like, what in the heck is going on up there?
a. Well, progress, technology, things are taking, but we have to learn how, and the younger people and older people who are learning this technology too have to understand how much of it really plays a part in our life, and how much do we need to use it, and how much we shouldn't use it. That kind of thing. So, I want to move on a little bit and say, like, what? Wow, I'm gonna put these two questions together. What was the scariest step you took in your career, and what gave you the courage to take it? No, we're gonna leave that right there. What was the scariest step you took in your career, and what gave you the courage to take it?
Hmm. Okay. Well, the the first thing was I was a claims adjuster for an insurance company in Staten Island. And I won't lie, I was very good at I could read an MRI, knew my cases inside and out. And they wanted to have one of their friends come in and do my case for me, do my arbitration. And I'll tell you what, you could fire me if I don't win this case. Not only did I win that case, I won all seven of the ones I did. But that was a bold move to say you could fire me because I mean anything could happen in that arbitration. Anything could have happened. And so that was one. And And I ended up leaving there anyway because it just wasn't where I needed to be. It was wreaking havoc with my spirit, my soul, and my peace. So I was grateful to be able to
Hmm.
give them a two-line resignation letter when the time was right.
Hmm.
The other one, in my present business, just realizing that I don't need to be a cookie cutter. God gave me the inspiration, He gave me the path to do what I do, right? And so my area of expertise is estate planning. No, I'm not an attorney. I don't pretend to be one. There are certain folks that are like, oh, well, you shouldn't do. I'm like, I'll tell you what, you run your business your way. But this is what I was given as divine instruction. So you do what you're going to do. Because I have one of my other favorite sayings, not my monkeys, not my circus, not my clowns, not my car. Do you, right? And so I've stepped out and I've learned and I just love what I do. And I love showing other folks how to do that too. So stepping out and standing up to folks that try to bully you. And I don't take bullying too well, because I got in trouble as a kid, often beating up bullies. You know, a friend of mine told me that I wasn't really a bully in the circumstance because I used to be 5 foot 185 pounds. I wore a size 22. And if you formed your lips to say fat, I decked you. You hit the ground before you could get the T out. It's bam. I thought that was a bit of a bully, but my friend said, no, you were defending yourself. I was grateful for that for that clarity, because I didn't have that for a while. It wasn't a long period of my life, but I still just don't like seeing injustice. If I see somebody not being treated fairly,
Yeah.
not getting the attention, I believe so strongly in treating people the way you want to be treated. I guess that's why I've been the caregiver for so many people because I plan not to be the one in the hospital bed, but yeah, if that time comes, I would hope I've paid it forward well enough.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's also why you do what you do, right? I mean, that's why you do Wills and More. And that's why you have been one of the most successful ring earners, at least ones I know, in this journey because of your commitment to helping people fight injustice, your commitment to helping people get what they need and be able to move forward in their life and be able to leave a legacy for their loved ones if something happens to them. I mean, would
Thank you for
that be
that.
true? That would be a true assessment.
Thank you for yeah, it is because at the end of the day, we need to leave legacies instead of mysteries. And a friend of mine just lost her brother just yesterday. And I was so grateful that I met with him 5 years ago. So his love letter's in place.
Great.
So when people start reaching and grabbing, my
Uh,
friend's got the ultimate power because she's the executrix, right?
wow. Yeah.
Folks figured, well, we're still married, like, well, yeah, yeah, well, let's see what the law says about this. So there's so many nuances and things that we just take for granted. That's why it's so important to leave a love letter to your family so they know how much you love them and that you didn't want them to be fighting because you left
Mm.
things in writing. And
Yeah, and
so,
yes, yes, and I appreciate you for that because you did the same thing for my mom. And then when the time came 2 years ago and she passed on, we were able to do what we had to do, and everything was in place and it was written, and I was grateful that it was all done and ready to go and minimize all of the
crazy.
upheaval that it could have caused. So,
Amen. I'm just glad
and
you
that,
got it done. How
yes,
hard was it though? Tell the folks how hard it was.
it wasn't hard at all. It wasn't hard at all. I mean, we're gonna actually. I'm gonna put all her information in the description when I post this video, so that when you want to reach out to her, you can and get all the information that you can about about creating your own love letter to your family, letter of love to your family, and being able to have what you need in place to what did you say, demystify, and what is, how
To
do you put it?
simplify and demystify the process because it took me
Demystify.
6 years to do it. So,
That's
to
right.
narrow
So
the learning
that's what
learning.
we're gonna work on. That's we're gonna put that in the description, and so that you guys can get in touch with Eileen anytime you need to and be able
Awesome.
to get your information. But we're gonna finish. We're gonna move on.
Okay.
So here's the part I like so much because this is, I think, some of the things that as a young woman that we think we can do, and this is what she talked about earlier about putting that S on her chest and being everything to everybody. So how did you build this successful business being a wife, mother, and now a grandmother?
I'll tell you what, the pandemic was the turning point for me because I couldn't go anywhere, right? So I learned how to build my business, bringing people in and getting them started right. Now, the beauty of Zoom is that you could do a Zoom anytime. And I've got folks on my team in these 30 different states, done wills in over 25 different states. So I was able to build the business that I have now through the doing sharing how important it is to make sure you have that love letter because people were dropping like flies. I was getting phone calls. Yeah, we need to get this done. I said, where are you? On the way to the hospital. So you're not going to be able to get this done because you're not going to be able to go in when you get there. So I built from there, and then I realized that that was a niche market. I mentioned that once before. Who's in your circle of influence? Who can you talk to that does something that you just want to be able to add value to what folks do, provide support and strength where they may not know it's available. And that's what I was able to do. I preached to the niche, built my team on small business, so making sure small business owners had a legal team protecting their business and their family. Done over 800 love letter will packages since March of 2020. And the main thing is just being able to
Did you
provide
say
peace.
800?
Yes.
Don't be sliding by that number. Wait, hold on. Wait. I heard it and I was like, did she just say over? You said over
Yes, ma'am.
800. Over 800 pounds. Now you did this while you're married, while you're raising kids,
Mhm.
and and your granddaughter. I mean, well, I don't know. The second one was well, the second one is like 2 years old now,
You know, she's some 17 months old or 17 and a half
right?
months old.
So
So
she's not quite two. So that's like 24. She was born in
she was born
2024.
in 24. Yes. She'll be
Okay.
she'll be 2 in September. But the thing
Okay.
is that most of the work that I did, my kids are grown. Okay. One daughter moved back here during the pandemic because I didn't want her to be by herself in Philly. So she's been here since then. Older daughter's married, has our two granddaughters. But the thing that I'm most proud of is that I was able to be a caregiver 24/7 and run a business doing 8 to 10 Zooms a day and maximizing the potential to earn 6 figures doing so and to be the top recruiter and top producer for the company 1 year. All from the desk we're talking from right now. God blessed me to know what to do, my niche market. Just like when you have little kids, babies, you sleep when the baby sleeps. I've worked with mom who slept,
Mm,
right? Or,
mm,
so you just have to pick and choose your battles. And what is your why
mm.
and why is it important? And
Okay.
if it's not
What?
important enough, then we need to reevaluate what it is. What do you want to do when you grow up?
Right.
You
Uh huh.
know, what's the best picture of you that you can see? What does that look like? What are you doing? You know, are you walking in speaking in front of a crowd? Are you taking care of kids? Are you building businesses and selling them? Are you working and getting to the top of the company? What is it that you want? Put it on paper. And and we got to be wise with our money.
Absolutely.
We have to be
Absolutely.
we don't no one learns until it's the hard way. But I was listening to David Bach yesterday. He wrote a book, The Instant Millionaire, 20 years ago. He rewrote that book so that young folks they can put money into a different ways to save that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that not so that you could just go and floss and buy a bag. You know, I was in this on a panel last week, Beyond the Bag. You know, bags are
Mm-hmm.
nice, but they're not going to be there when you're ready to buy a house. They're not going to
Mm,
be there if you want to go on the trip of your dreams. They're not going to
right.
be there if you just have a hard time and you just need that extra. So we need to
Right.
make sure that we are financially literate,
Right.
you
So, what
know.
lessons do you want to teach your? What lessons about womanhood and strength do you hope that your daughters and granddaughters carry forward?
Well, it's all about God, first of all, because everything that we have is nothing but God's grace. We are always told about how amazing our daughters are. And I said, they were great. They are amazing, but it's nothing but God's grace. So you need to just, I can't impress upon you enough to just write down your dreams, right? I was watching Steve Harvey one time and he said he has a bucket list, a dream list of 300 things.
Oh
And you make
wow!
a list of 300 things and you
Oh
check
wow!
off each one, sooner or later, those 300 things, unless you said you're going to fly to the moon on a scooter, they're going to come to pass, right? So we need to cast, cast,
Wow!
cast the dream, put it in writing so you could see it, right? Cast the
Mm.
vision, make it plain. So you want to see what it is. So when we start there, I never really did that before. Vision boards are huge. I did my first vision board for the first time ever last month. I'm
Mm.
going to
Oh,
vision board parties and have fun drinking wine, cutting up with folks, but there was never a vision board.
oh,
So now I
okay.
have a vision board, right?
Yeah, awesome.
So it's just keep and don't let social media pressure you. Don't let that be the measure of who you are and what you accomplish
Okay.
because comparison is the enemy of joy. Your journey is not like anyone else's. I watch folks that come in, make $500,000 in 2 weeks. That's their journey, right? But your journey is designed for you. And what God has for you is for you. But you need to figure out what is it that I want and how am I going to get it, right?
Right.
And so that comes from one, a vision board, or two, make that bucket list. Maybe it doesn't have to be 300 yet. Make it 50. Make it, I'm not even going to say 10. I'm not letting you off easy. Make it 50 and dream big because we don't dream big enough.
Now
I just
you're
want to
right.
have a house. You may get blessed with a house that's got one bathroom, a kitchen the size of the bathroom, no backyard, no basement. You live in a straight 300 square foot house.
It's a house.
Dream bigger.
Right. Dream bigger, right?
Dream
Because you said I just
bigger.
want to have a house, right? It's a
Dream big.
house.
Exactly. It's yours. Yay, yay. But
So speaking of that, because I'm going to segue into the next thing. What does success mean to you beyond money and title?
what success means to me is being blessed to be able to help others.
Mm,
Right? So whether it's helping a single mom be able to get a computer or somebody can't make their rent because of some bad things are happening to folks, and
mm,
just being able to reach back and help. I want to be able to be an example. I want folks to be able to say, yeah, she did it, I can too. I want to encourage folks that there's so much more if we just reach for it. The comfort zone is nice because it's the name of your show, but sometimes we have to step out of that comfort zone to find where true joy and true success is. I'm
absolutely.
grateful
That's why it's a
for.
question mark at the end.
Hmm?
That's why there's
Oh,
a
okay.
question mark at the end of
Ah, I
bucket
got you.
list.
Okay, okay,
Because
okay.
right, the question mark means are you comfortable in the go zone or are you not comfortable in
Right,
the zone?
absolutely. And the
But
other part about this though is when it comes to success, it's got to be on your terms, right? What does success look like to you? Most of the things that have happened, I wasn't, at first I wasn't pushing for them, and then when I saw I could do them, I pushed hard. I pushed harder because when something was in my grasp, I ran for it and I pushed hard and did what I needed to do. Right? So what is it that is the non-negotiable thing that you really, really want? Right? You're gonna pray on it. You're gonna put on a post-it by your mirror, and when you're brushing your teeth, you see it. Put it on your computer, you see it there. Put it on the fridge. And above all, be kind to yourself. Your
Mm-hmm.
self-talk is a difference maker.
Yes.
Because
Give
what you
yourself
say,
grace, right? Mm-hmm.
exactly, would
Mm-hmm.
you say to your best friend what you say to yourself? Would you say that to your
Mm.
child, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
you are speaking mean or speaking negative into your spirit, and then that opens the door for others, we need to show people how to treat us.
Absolutely.
I'm a big
Absolutely.
proponent of that. It's like,
Absolutely. And a lot of times we show people how to treat us because we don't know how to treat ourselves. And
exactly.
we weren't always taught. And even if we had someone that was telling it to us, we probably didn't retain the information, or we made ourselves believe that what they were telling us was not true. I know I did that.
Exactly. Oh
My
yeah.
mom
Oh
poured
yeah.
into me. My mom poured into me and
Yep.
told me, the things that I needed to know to empower myself, which are the things I was able to fall back on and begin to
Same
remember
here.
as I got older as I got older in this journey. But there was so much that I allowed other things, like we talked about the society, about AI dressing you, about your body image. You're not looking the way that the society wants you to look. And I'm so glad that there are people that are working very hard to change that body image. Dove is one of my favorite companies that are doing that, where they're showing women who they are, how
Who's
they
this?
look. Dove,
Oh yes.
Dove.
That
They
campaign
are
is fire.
awesome, awesome. I mean, with the freckles, with the cancer, people who have had breast
Yes.
cancer, people who are not, have the skin and everything, like every shape and color and look. And I just love that because that's what women need to see. That's what young people need to see. That we're all different shapes, sizes. We are all different. We come from all different places, and we still strive to be the best version of ourselves in
Exactly.
all of that. So you kind of touched on it, but I want you to give an exact. Okay, so I want you to give an exact statement to this, because you touched on it throughout this whole interview. You touched on it back different ways and different things that you said. But if you could speak to your younger self and to every young girl that's watching, what would you say to her about becoming the woman she is meant to be?
When you look in the mirror, know you are enough and be not negotiable about it, right? And love yourself. Love yourself because when you love yourself, you're showing everybody else how to treat you. Believe in yourself,
Right.
right? If there's something you're not good at and you want to, there's so many ways to learn to be better at what you if you feel there's a shortfall. Find out what it is, and even if it's worth trying to figure out how to learn it, right? But be your own. What I would tell myself is be your own biggest cheerleader. I do it under. I get chastised for this, but I think my superpower is being invisible. People never see me coming until I'm right in front of them. So know your stuff, know your worth, and grow your wealth.
Ooh,
Oh,
girl.
and never settle. Never settle.
Oh man. Well, you said about being unapologetic. Be
Yes, ma'am.
unapologetic about who you are.
Unapologetically unbothered by what other people think.
Unbothered. Exactly. 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 And and I just want to gosh, that was amazing. That was so spot on. Um I, that was so spot on. I mean, I have another question I want to ask, but I'm like, I don't even know if I should ask it, because you hit it. I think you hit it all
Okay.
when I asked you to do that. You hit all, because I started writing notes, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these things in a description, about talking about trying to reach younger people. I'm going to do what I can to. I'm still working with the social media stuff, so I'm good. I don't have a team yet, so it's just me. I am the team.
Yeah.
So I'm making it do what it do.
Make it do what it do, girl.
I appreciate this. And oh, so I am going to ask this one last question.
Okay.
every young woman listening could remember one truth about herself, and I think you said it, but you'll say it again, or you come up with something else, what would you want it to be?
You are more than enough.
Right. That's what I said. I thought you was gonna say it again.
You
I
are
thought you
more
were
than
gonna say it
enough.
again. That's it. And I mean, I don't know how many times we could say this, and I know for a fact that I think I know what you're saying. A lot of women still do not feel they are, and there is something that's disconnected there. I'm not sure what it is. I'm hoping that this empowers all women that listen to this, even my not even all women that listen to this, everyone, all the women subscribers that I have on my channel that listen, and the ones that are not subscribers but listen. I don't care. I want you to know, Eileen and I agree on this 200%. You are enough. And if there's anything about who you are that you are not happy with, you can change it. You can improve it. If we talked about, she talked about her weight. She talked about her faith. She talked about raising children. She talked about her granddaughter, who at 4 years old has some anger stuff that she's got to work out at 4. So it can happen at any time. I just want y'all to know this, but it's not to say that it cannot be changed or improved. So I have to thank my wonderful friend, my guest, Eileen Marcial, for dropping all of these magnificent gems on us today. This has the potential. I believe this interview has the potential to change a lot of people's lives and help women to understand how strong they really are, and especially our young women, and
Mhm.
start to make different choices about the things that you're doing for yourself, for others, and how you're allowing other people to impact you.
Absolutely. May I add something though that just crossed my mind? For the
You
young
sure can.
ladies on the that are listening, even if you got off to a start that may not be the start you wanted, you are still here and you still have a chance to do what there's a it's a way of just nope, line in the sand. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to be this. And you write that list. And you have to dedicate yourself to what it is that you want to see change in your life and always keep it positive. And tell somebody so they can keep you accountable.
Oh, yes, yes. Accountability is huge. Accountability
Absolutely.
is
I want to
huge.
thank you, my dear friend, for what you're doing. I'm so super proud of you for stepping out on sheer faith, opening up your own podcast channel, doing the doggone thing because I bought the equipment to do this 4 years ago, right? I opened the box. One of my biggest challenges is technology, and so I opened the box and I looked at everything. I'm like, what in the hell? And I put it back in the box. I don't even know where the box is right now. So I'm super proud of you, my friend.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I stepped out of my
You
comfort
sure
zone
did.
in order to do this,
So you
and
took the
so
question
I
mark
really,
off of it. Out of my comfort zone. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
the question mark is for the people that are watching. That's what the question mark is for. It's not for me, it's for
Got
them to
you.
see, like, what does that mean? The comfort zone? What are you talking about?
That
But I am so glad. I'm so glad you're here. And I just need to say, before I get off this podcast with my beautiful people, that I want you to always celebrate your life. The more you celebrate your life, the more life there is to celebrate. I will see you next time on the Comfort Zone.
Yay,
Bye
yay.
bye.